shake your body. Let's not sleep together. You can't sleep when I do. Let's not sleep together. You can't sleep when I do. Let's not sleep together.
Hello and welcome to Gamersledge Podcast, everyone. Season 4, episode 346. Post E3 2021. I am one of your hosts, Mark, and joining me this fine evening is, of course, a very panel. We have a lot of people here. First up, hi, Daniel.
Hey, everybody. How's it going?
And then also we've got Matt. Hi, Matt.
Howdy.
And then, of course,
I gotta wait for the nameplay, right? I
Yeah,
can't
you
see
have to
it,
wait
so
for
I
the
have
nameplate.
to,
It's
kind of guess.
it's 100%
you know?
right. Yeah. And then also joining us is Dave. Hi, Dave.
How are you? Do we still have this issue? I don't even know. Oh, okay. So I'll just keep talking for a little bit. I'll take a sip. Cheers.
There you go. And last but not least is, of course, Keegan. Hi, Keegan.
Hello.
Oh, your arm is just disappearing.
Yes, I am invisible.
And not really, but sort of.
No.
We have, gentlemen, it's been a month. And that's totally been my fault. But,
Nobody's denying that.
huh?
We're not denying that.
Yeah, no, I know. It's 100% my fault. But we have a lot to talk about. E3 was last week, so we've got that to break down. We've got all kinds of tabletop gaming news, stuff that's going on that side of the world, and then some entertainment news, video game news, TV news, movie news, all that good stuff. So, but before we get to that, let's do what we always do, and that is go around the table and talk about what we've been doing since last we met. So let's start with you, Dave.
Wasn't ready. Sorry. What?
Yes.
What you been up to, Dave?
Oh, it's been a special week. Ratchet and Clank came out for the PlayStation 5.
How is it?
It is fantastic. Not only is it just a showcase game for the PlayStation 5, but it's just it's like, I'm trying to think of the best way to describe it. I don't want to cheapen the game by saying it's like my comfort food in gaming, but it really is just like, your favorite meal your mom made for you when you were a kid. And, you're just like, when you're feeling bad and it's just like the one thing you go to that just makes the world right. That's Ratchet and Clank. Insomniac knocked it out of the park. I mean, it is just fun. It's just fun. It's just fun. Everything about the game is fun. There's like literally almost zero complaints about the game. It looks phenomenal. The stuff they put into it, there was a day one patch for locking at 60 frames, ray tracing on it, called performance mode. Just fantastic. It's just, I don't know how they keep doing it so well. I mean, this is a launch window game and it looks amazing. And the amount of stuff you can throw at it, like, remember toward like the end of the game, I have, all my weapons, powered up and everything. And I am throwing everything at levels with just like swarms of enemies coming in, and there's effects going off all over the place, multiple weapon effects going off at the same time because I am just switching things like, I got ADD in the game and nothing, not a hint of slowdown, nothing. The game is just top notch all the way. It is I will say the first real showcase of the PlayStation 5.
All right, then. So if you had to give it a score on a
10.
1 to 10 scale.
Yeah, it's a 10 for me.
All right, then.
I mean, Yeah, I wouldn't even feel right,
And
knocking a
and
half point off just to
and how many hours
sugarcoat
have
it.
you logged into it right now?
Hours wise, I'm probably, I would say between 13 and 15.
I only ask because I do know that you beat the game already.
Yeah.
So
Um,
it is not. I expected it to be like a 30-hour campaign. So it's about 13 to 15 then.
yeah, I mean, I've seen most like things online where people saying you run through it in 10. But I think that's if you're not really exploring and stuff. I mean, I'm looking at the nooks and crannies and really appreciating the detail in the game. So, and then, there's a new game plus to start right afterward, like in all Ratchet and Clank games. So, I'm going to be doing that. So that's going to like double it right, right there. Plus there's an extensive photo mode that they put into the game, which I am going to be abusing a lot. So that's going to really pad it for me too.
And then just because I know you also have it as a second opinion, Matt, what are you thinking of it?
I am not nearly as far as Dave is, but yeah, I mean, I think I mean, Ratchet and Clank games, just because of the ability to explore and what you can do and stuff, there's always places where you could get stuck on the geometry or something like that, right? But I think that happened to me once. I had to actually stop the game and get out. But yeah, it's as close to a perfect thing as you can see, at least as far as I've gotten. The arena battles, you've got like just all of this stuff going on all at the same time. Plus the draw distance on the backgrounds is just insane. It's not like, she cheated on that. It's like all the worlds, you get to a certain planet where it's pseudo open world and you've got this huge arena area that you're in and you can see the entire thing from one end to the other if you're high enough. And it never dips, it never drips. I'm using the performance RT mode. That's the one that's 60 frames with the ray tracing, drops the resolution down to 1440. But with everything going on, you can't really tell in motion. Yeah, if you sat down, took a screenshot and compared the two side by side, you could tell. But as the game's going on and everything, you can't really tell. And not to mention the full 4K ray tracing mode is 30 frames, and that was the first time where I really felt like, okay, you know what? There is a significant difference. The 30 frames on that game feels pretty rough. Just that's the first time where I've really had that like visceral reaction to going from 60 to 30. Could I get used to it? I'm sure I could get used to it, but that initial shift was pretty brutal. But yeah, it's pure Ratchet and Clank. I mean, the characters are there, the humor is there, the weapons are there, the level design is there. It's their flagship series really, at this point, and they just keep on making it. Now, does it do anything revolutionary? No. Does it need to? No. So
Yeah, people that complain about that, like I started seeing, a couple people complaining, like, it doesn't do it, it's not revolutionary. Something, like, these are people like, not everything has to reinvent the wheel. Like, when you go and get like, a fine meal at a restaurant, are you sitting down and saying like, oh, this steak and lobster is just,
steak and
it's
lobster.
it's not doing anything new. No, it's still a really damn good steak and lobster. I mean,
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing that is different though, and Dave didn't touch on this though, is the dual sense. The use of the
yes,
dual sense in the game is amazing. It is the best. I thought Astrobot did a good job of the adaptive triggers. This is by far better use of the adaptive triggers than Astrobot, even, or Astro's Rescue, or whatever it was
it's we were
called.
talking about this before, and we came up with it's seamless.
Yeah, you
And
almost don't
that's
realize it.
and that's the thing. It's like it's always been there, and that's how well they implemented everything. You don't even like it's so natural, and the controllers doing little bleeps and bloops at you like while you're doing it, but the triggers are just like every weapon's a little bit different, and it feels right. Every weapon feels right with it.
Now,
It's just
the only downside is I have noticed the controller does die faster playing Ratchet and Clank than other games. It dies a lot faster.
I was
playing
going
other
through,
games.
I was going through a controller session. I have them like in a rotating, like one's charging while I'm playing with the other.
Yup.
And yeah, you definitely need that. I'm like, oh, cool. It's we're having the same issues. We're having the same thing as a PS4. However, this time I don't care. So I'll consider that a win.
They came out with new colors for the PS5 controllers today, so you could get one of those for Father's Day.
Yeah, but they're lousy
Red.
colors.
No, they're not blue. You're right. So
Exactly.
Yeah.
that red one's pretty sexy though, because it's the red on black, and that's like whenever I do a character customization, it's always red on black. So that's pretty tight.
It's not bad. I mean, if I had to get one, I'd get the red one, but I'm gonna hold out. I got 2 controllers. I'm good right now.
So what else did you play, Dave?
What else did I play?
Animal Crossing, obviously.
Well, yeah. I mean, Animal Crossing's always there. I did download that Nintendo Garage game thing. I have yet to really fire it up. But I'm going to try and tear into that a little bit this weekend. Ratchet and Clank just dominated playtime. I did fire up the Vita because I have the Ratchet and Clank collection on there, and I wanted to go back and play probably mainly Up Your Arsenal. I wanted to go back to that one. I haven't played that one in a while. So the easiest way to do that's going to be on the Vita. So I fired that up and got that ready, and that was a real pain to get connected again. They don't really play with 2-factor authentication on there, and they've never updated it. So it's like, yay. But I got it working, so it's fine. Then there's a
Cat.
Yeah.
Cat. Meow.
We're caught up on Loki. We're caught up on Bad Batch. We're also what else was I watching? The wait a minute, I'm drawing a blank on something. I fired up the 3DS for something too, and I cannot for the life of me remember what I was going to play on. What I was playing on there. Whatever.
Probably Animal Crossing.
Oh, Mother 3. Not Mother 3. Earthbound.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's gonna be hard because that's not out yet.
No, there was a Mother. The Mother 3 conversation started it up again somewhere. So I was just like, oh yeah. I was like, let me play Earthbound on there. I know I have that on there. So the SNES one.
Well, before your cat destroys Tokyo along with the rest of you, let's move on to Daniel. Daniel, what have you been up to?
Not playing video games.
That's not entirely true.
Fortnite. I've been playing Fortnite. The new season is all about aliens, and they could not have targeted me more closely if it had been Muppets. That's probably the only way they could have targeted me more aptly.
That's what that viral campaign thing was. Remember? We were talking about that last time.
Oh. So what?
Remember, weren't we talking about that on the podcast? I got some weird viral marketing thing.
Oh yeah.
That was all just a Fortnite thing.
Oh, nice. Yeah. So how long have you been playing now?
I'm not playing it.
I'm just kidding.
But Alex wants to. Alex wants to.
Look, I'm sure he'll eventually play it. That's fine. But
my youngest is why I play.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. I just love my kids. What can I say? I have been doing a lot of tabletop gaming and some board gaming stuff. So there is that, and I have a lot of news articles to discuss in a little bit. But I'd say for the most part, I've just been prepping to go back live with my group here.
Nice.
For the Eberron game that's shot back up. I've also been doing a lot of 3D modeling and printing, 3D printing. With LARP starting, and I'll be talking about that later too. I have been getting more commissions for small props and stuff like that for people. And for miniatures, for role-playing games, since games are going back live for a lot of people. So I have been doing a lot of commissions and printing. That's about it.
Nice.
Nice.
Matt, how about you?
Well, I know this. I've done more than all this, but this is going to be the consolidated list. So finished Castlevania season 4. They finally figured out how to do pacing just in time to end the show. So it's by far the best season of the show. I still struggle with the whole. If they hadn't called it Castlevania, I probably would have been happier with it. But if they hadn't called it Castlevania, everyone would have just been calling it a Castlevania ripoff. So they had to go ahead and do the license anyway. But I do not like that Alucard. That is not my Alucard. I think that's my hang up with the whole show. But overall, it was still great. Season 4 was great. I'm just not gaga for it like some were. But I am sad that it took them all 4 seasons to figure out how to pace a season and then just stop. I am in season 2 of Breaking Bad, which is really weird because I'm thinking this must be the writer strike season. But it's still great show, just some odd choices. I've only finished episode 1 of Loki. I'm still on episode 1 of Bad Batch. I've watched the Masters of the Universe Revelation trailer about 867 times because that all I needed to know that they had really done what I felt they had done is I showed it to my wife and she sat there with this dumb smile on her face the entire trailer. And if you can do that to my wife, you have friggin' hit the lottery, my man. So yeah,
It is a really good trailer.
If
I'm a
nothing else, it
sucker.
is a great trailer.
I am such a sucker for that song.
well, then they turned around and used the same one in the Guardians of the Galaxy game trailer. So it's just like two big things back to back, both using that song.
Well, listen, if you have not gone and watched the Kevin Smith breakdown of all that stuff where he's talking about rebooting it, it just came out like a day or two ago. I highly recommend you do because he's like, look, man, I used to come home and this was what was on and it was like a ritual. And when Mattel called me up and was like, hey, do you want to do Masters of the Universe? He's like, I've never done that before, but hell yes, I want to. And so they're like, they talk about how it's really kind of a direct continuation of that
Of the 80s.
of the 80s show. So I'm totally
And
down
you can
for
tell all the character designs, with the exception of possibly He-Man, are exactly like they were for the show. I mean, well, okay, not exactly, but they're like, yes, if you had created that character with that design with today's animation, that's what it would have looked like, right? You know, so it was pretty spot on. And you know, I did watch a video a while back of him watching the Adam transformation to He-Man, and he was like tearing up, like just watching it and the music in the background. So, you know, it's definitely close to his heart, and I think it looks like it's going to be good. I hope it's good, but we'll see.
Me too. I'll watch it anyways.
Oh yeah, I'm going to watch it anyways. But, and then last night we watched Raya and the Last Dragon on Disney Plus. Pretty solid movie. Wasn't my favorite Disney movie, but it was good. It was really good. It was solid. You can tell that they didn't want to waste the time on certain things because they copied and pasted some stuff. But it was good. I enjoyed it. Like I said, not my favorite, but I enjoyed it. On the video game front, I completed Resident Evil 8. Loved it. I thought it was really good. 7.75. It has some weirdness to it. It does have some pacing problems. I've discussed it with others. We kind of all agree that some of the pacing choices are weird. But overall, it's a great entry into the series. It is a direct sequel to 7. But it is very different from 7 gameplay wise. So if you're going in there thinking you're playing the same game you did in 7, it's not that game. But the RE engine still is amazing at making things look wet and slimy and gross. And it there is a call out in the 4th boss battle. There is a call out that boss does about a franchise character that I actually had to pause the game because I was laughing so hard at the call out. So that was good. Ratchet and Clank Ripped Apart. I'm about 8 hours in. I think I'm gonna pass Dave's time to completion because I am a moron and I stare at like where this thing that I'm supposed to be able to get is for like hours, and then turn around and say, "Oh, there's the path."
I do that too.
that third gold bolt in the first planet.
That was embarrassing.
There
was
not
one-
the only one though.
There was one. It was just like one of those just like little crystals that I couldn't get on this one planet, and I probably spent like 20 minutes trying to figure something out and everything. And the next thing you know, I just saw like a little like ramp, and I'm like, oh.
My favorite thing I forgot to mention about the game so far is realizing that Rivet is basically Thor and taking down one of those tyrannosaurs with just your hammer.
Yeah, well, one of the things that I hate about the game is when I stare at stuff for a long time and then I realize that all the 50 likes are right there. 150 likes from you, Blacksmith. Thank you, Blacksmith. You're a rock star.
That was the weirdest transition ever, but yes,
Yeah,
thank you.
yeah.
Then we've been continuing our Divinity Original Sin Original Sin 2 playthrough. I did finish Shadow of the Tomb Raider. I don't know if I'd mentioned that, if I'd finished that the last time we met or not. A little bit of Fortnite. I agree with Daniel. I love the theme of the season. I'm not so keen on the implementation. But that changes as the season goes on. So I'll give it a couple of weeks and I'll probably love it.
Which part?
Everything costs too much. I don't like the placement of the ride slots on the spaceships. You can't do much if you're riding the spaceship.
That's true.
Not the pilot, but when you're
when you're standing up top and you can't shoot anyone in a 40 degree.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So you're basically just standing there, and that's annoying. Part of it is I just don't have a path, right? I mean, we've got our standard land at the mountain, go down to Caddy Corner and do that, but when I did solo play on the other one, I had some really good paths established for solo runs, and I haven't had enough time to do that yet. So once I get into it, and I'm sure it'll be fine. There've just been some things that annoyed me. Like I couldn't find the phone booths. Like for that first quest, you're supposed to take a thing and you're looking for the phone booths where the markers are, and you can't find them because they're not where the marker pointed. And
the ducks were a problem for me too. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
We're cutting deep on Fortnite. The ducks were a problem too.
For me,
no, I know.
I have put probably 30 hours into that game for this season, and that's like 600 hours for any of you. So
I do appreciate that. Yes, I've not put that many hours into this season. Not even close. So
just FYI, I have to make that 250 likes from you, Blacksmith, because he's awesome, and he also leveled up. And then you, Blacksmith, is like, you guys ranting on Fortnite and me being like, ha, I haven't even played since the beginning of season 6. This season is much better than Primal. I will say this season is pretty good. Oh, and Matt, just FYI, since we're cutting this hard on it, if you land where we normally land and then go to the island directly to the north, there's always a UFO there.
Oh, really?
And now there won't be.
Because we called it out.
Just Blacksmith. Always
then we've been doing our D&D 5th edition playthrough on Monday nights, Emancipation of Dragons, so been enjoying that. Quark has been an interesting evolution from where I thought he was going to go originally, so it's
and
always
right
fun when
so tut tut.
Rightly so.
Person.
All of a sudden your character takes on a life of its own, and you're like, "Well, crap, that's not where I was going, but that's where he's going, so I guess I'll follow." And then I started, book 7, Persepolis Rising of the Expanse series. I'm about almost halfway into it. Still keeping up with my book a month goal so far.
1,300 pages.
Oh, this one? No, like 550.
Really? That few? It looks much bigger than that.
Well, it's like the trade.
That's what she said.
And I mean the fonts. fairly big, you know, and there's a
yeah,
lot of
that's
margin.
huge.
So
Okay. Yeah.
so yeah, it's that new trade paperback format thing that things seem to like to use. So I'm really enjoying that. This is probably my favorite book in a while. Not that the others are bad, but this one's got me going again. And then I also finished Into the Dark, which is the young adult Star Wars. What is it called? The Jedi. Not Light of the Jedi. That's the High Republic. There we go. So I finished. So I've read all of the books now that have come out so far for New Republic.
That last
Thoughts?
one.
What?
I
Thoughts?
said that last book. Sorry.
Oh, the
Yeah.
Light of the Jedi was not great. The youth book and the young adult book are far better, which is sad because, you know, the main story is Light of the Jedi. The rest of them tie into what happened from that. But
It was funny. I ended the book and they were just like, pre-order the next one. It comes out, you know, toward the end of June. And I'm like, nah, I'm gonna make you wait on that one, guys. I got to see your reviews on that.
yeah, I forget who the author on the next one is, because again, they're doing the whole rotating author thing. So I don't remember.
That always works out well.
Well, they had it working out well before Disney bought it. They had it working really, really well for the series as they were doing. But anyway, that's neither here nor there.
What were you going to say, Daniel?
No, he answered the question kind of.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
so what?
Yeah, I was asking what your thoughts were on it,
Oh, yeah.
but you kind of answered it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think the two, the young adult and the youth novels were really well done. They focused on small stories, focused on, you know, small groups of characters, and I think that really worked well for them. Light of the Jedi, as much as I like Charles Soule as a comic writer, I don't know what the heck happened with that novel. It was a mess. The only thing I can figure is they said, we need a 285-page novel. And he's like, I can do this in 75. 285 pages, that's what we're paying you for. Okay. You know, that's what it feels like, right? It feels like when somebody pads a paper just to make a page count.
Or pads a movie with a whole bunch of stuff that doesn't need to be in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't, and there was just some weird, like it started off like, and they were introducing this great character, and all of a sudden the character went away, and you were like, oh, you're going to be like that. And then they introduced a bunch of characters you don't care about, and you had to follow them for the entire book.
Yeah, Star Wars books have always been that way, though. It was too many characters, though. That was definitely a detraction because, yeah, I think I know which character set he's talking about, and you only got to get to them about every 5th chapter, and it was annoying. Then the last thing I'm going to bring up, this year, a new Digimon card game dropped. And Mitchell went and found a place nearby that sold all except one of the starter decks, and I got a Met deck because I have to have a Met Gabumon.
So
deck.
wait a minute. A digital monster game made an analog card game where you capture digital and play digital monsters, but they're analog.
Yes.
Actually, even deeper than that is this isn't the first time they've done that with
No.
this series. This is like the 3rd time they've done that with this series.
So weird.
Yeah. But it's I haven't played a game. They just got the cards yesterday. Mitchell and Keegan played a couple of rounds yesterday. It took some while, you know, digging through the rules and trying to figure out, okay, what does that mean? What does this mean? Who is this? There's some weird stack effects. They don't stack in the order you'd think they would. So you got to kind of sit there with the rule book. Okay, which one resolves first? And but it is definitely, for the most part, it is pointed at kids, but I could see where there could be some high level play options for it too. So I don't know how into this we're going to get, but yeah, I just wanted to call it out. So far, it seems good. It's got really good card art. And you know, if you think interested, it's about $15 for a starter deck. So, you know, go ahead. It has everything for one player in a starter deck. So you need 2 decks and somebody to play with, but yeah, it seems pretty solid. And if we can figure it out, I'm hoping to try to tutorial video for the site.
Nice.
So, yeah, and that's the last thing I'm going. Oh nope, wait! I got an early Father's Day present, and my daughter is an exceptional gift finder. She is really good at finding gifts. Not that this was a hard mark for me when you see what it is.
Yeah,
but she is. I just want to.
Yeah, way better than
way
your
better
sons.
than his sons.
Wow.
No,
Wow.
I mean
Right
this is
here,
like.
live.
I mean, he's
Like
right.
live watching.
No, I mean this is like an
Well,
extraordinary.
he's right.
thing. Like,
He
she is
is
uncanny with this stuff. I mean, we all acknowledge this. But
yes.
I'm gonna
He's
stand
right.
up.
She's the only one that cares about you. That's
Yeah. Anyway, so I got an early. Oh, and then I phase out, and now I'm gonna turn the light off. Hold on, see if that helps.
Just turn the
Background off.
background
Background
off.
off.
and it'll-
Yeah, that's but it's getting reflection from the screen too. So
Yeah,
it's,
we
you
can
know,
see it.
Yeah, it's a Mando pop with the Baby Yoda.
with the
With the child.
with the child. It's a
Ukatoa?
season 1 because he's in his season 1 armor. It's the pre Beskar
Beskar?
armor,
Yeah.
and the child's in his little hover cradle, and I think it's on the planet from episode 3 where he goes and fights the big rhino thing that name's escaping me off the top of my head, because that's the type of terrain.
I
it
think
looks
it's a
like they're walking
mudhorn.
through. Mudhorn. Yep, you're right.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Are you a box person or a open it and shelve it person?
most of them I am a box person.
Hmm.
You see, I've got the crew of the Serenity over there. They're all still boxed. All of my Mando ones actually are still boxed. I have taken a few out, but
Our conversation just clued you, Blacksmith, in that it's Father's Day this weekend.
Yeah, I didn't know until earlier conversation today.
Well, no
so-
wonder he's saying Eve is the better gift finder. She remembered at least, Keegan. Holy cow.
I told my kids earlier today, hey, I'm heading to the mall. Oh, why are you going there? Because I'm buying my Father's Day present. And he goes, oh yeah, you're welcome.
And you, Blacksmith, you should watch Mando. If everything was written as well as Mando, I'd be a huge Star Wars fan.
oh my god.
yeah, John Favreau. I know he called in like every favor he has under the sun to make
Well,
that
and
show. But
It's Feige too.
And it's great.
oh yeah,
And it's
yeah.
great. It's a love letter. It really is.
Yeah.
This is the way.
I actually saw a really funny thing right before here. Anybody ever watch that Marvel 616 series on Disney Plus?
No, but I keep meaning to.
That's the one where they do like cosplayers and stuff, right?
It's all kinds of stuff. Like the first
Actually pretty
episode.
good. Yeah.
The first episode covered Japanese Spider-Man,
Yeah, I saw that.
Oh.
I saw that.
which I never knew existed.
Oh yeah.
And it went
It's a
into
thing.
Listen.
it went into a whole thing. And
Listen,
it actually is like, I didn't realize. So Spider-Man is responsible for Power Rangers.
listen, man. The whole thing about Ready Player One is that mech was supposed
Yep.
to be Japanese Spider-Man,
Yep.
Yeah.
not Gundam.
So I think I'm fairly certain I was exposed to Japanese Spider-Man at the store.
Yes.
I think
Yes.
you put it up on the TV.
Yes, because it is one of the most amazing things ever.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Otherwise I wouldn't have known either.
And by the way, you also need to find Turkish Captain America
I've
And-
seen that.
and I believe it is Indian Spider-Man,
Yes. I've
who's
seen that.
actually a villain in that
Oh.
series.
Yeah.
It's amazing stuff. It's so bad.
But yeah, the fact that it was all like officially licensed and everything like that whole thing was amazing.
I was made aware of it first by the manga. I didn't know it was a TV show until later, but
Yeah.
Nice.
But then they did there was another episode. I was skipping around because like some of them like I just didn't feel like watching, yet. But was it Paul Scheer, the comedian writer guy, his comedian actor guy? He was apparently pitching he wanted to pitch a series to Disney Plus, which apparently he didn't get, but they filmed him going through the process and they used that for one of these episodes. So basically he was trying to like find like some obscure Marvel property to kind of like reboot. And so he was like interviewing a bunch of people that were like worked in comics and everything like that. So the end of it, he decides on Brute Force, which was this 4-issue limited series of eco-environmental animal cyborg warriors. It was a very 80s thing when all that stuff was very popular. And so he came in and he like pitched it to him, and he got like a little like 2-minute animation thing done and all kinds of stuff. And at the end of it, the executives were just looking at him like, couldn't you just like go to like Jon Favreau and get his opinion, like get some notes from him? And I just thought that was a really funny line, to throw out there.
Nice. All right, I'm done.
Okay, Keegan, what do you got on yours? Quick.
All right, quickly. So the anime I've watched / am watching have finished since last time. Chobits, Black Clover, My Hero Academia, World End With You, High Rise Invasion. My brother's got me on One Piece now. Watched Castlevania with my dad and brother. Video games. I started continuing. Went back to the 3DS and was playing Digimon World Dawn, and my brother started playing Digimon World Dusk. We already have pretty powerful Digimon, and we just kind of kept making them more powerful. I've continued my second playthrough through Fire Emblem Three Houses. I got through some of Ratchet and Clank. I finished the intro kind of section and then the first half of the first planet. And then, oh yeah, I already said Persona 5. Yeah, I'm like at 120 hours in Persona 5 at this point. Still not quite to the end. Card
So have you
game.
got your money's worth out of it?
Oh, I didn't pay for it. I think my dad
So
or
that's a
brother
yes.
paid for it.
So that's a yes. You got a total.
Yes.
And look, Dave, he's put 130 hours more into that game than any Final Fantasy you've ever played.
Yeah, but I mean, I've done well over 300 hours in other games. I mean,
Animal Crossing doesn't count.
Zelda, hi. Fire Pro Wrestling, hi.
I played the Digimon card game with my brother. It's really fun. It's both kind of complex yet simple at the same time. You just gotta pay attention to a couple certain things and it should go pretty smoothly. I messed up the first game because I didn't read the level correctly, so I digivolved a Digivolution that wasn't possible. So yeah.
Does the game consist of just you saying Digi in front of a lot of things?
No.
Did you
does
know,
end with you
Digi
saying-
jerk?
You Blacksmith wants Dave to know me over here with 1,684 hours in Skyrim.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
How much?
1,684.
How?
I think I got
Mods.
300.
There's mods. I mean, mods extend the life of the game pretty.
I understand extending. That is a significant. I can't even say it.
Significant.
Thank you. That is just impressive.
I mean, I got to be approaching that in Divinity Original Sin 2.
Really?
I'm probably like 400 hours behind him. I'm thinking I'm
He
around
played
1,200.
1,000 hours of chapter 1 before ever even getting to chapter 2.
No,
so-
it was only 780 hours of chapter 1.
Close
So-
enough.
It's yeah, so I'm pretty sure I'm not far behind him in
Alright.
Divinity. That's yeah.
Just over
Then-
70 days straight.
Then for shows that aren't anime, Loki, I have seen the first episode. Ray of the Last Dragon I watched with the family. I was caught up with Bad Batch till I came home, and since we all are trying to watch that together, I am now behind.
This is where you fail. Just
Nice.
And then this is kind of a little bit out of the box, but I read a article about how the center of our galaxy may be a cluster of dark matter rather than a supermassive black hole, and I found that article really interesting.
As well you should.
Except Muse would be mad because then their song wouldn't make sense anymore.
Wah, wah.
Yeah, that's kind of an odd hobby I have. I like to read articles about dark matter, space, and just kind of that stuff.
Quantum mechanics are fun.
Yep.
Anything else?
That's it for me.
All right. So, what I've been playing, I played the New Puppy Get game. That is Rocket Shazam Bodanik.
Nice.
And Rocket, he had to be Rocket after Rocket Raccoon because he's got a mask.
Yeah.
Like legit, he's got a mask. And
Yeah, it's a no-brainer.
it's pretty much a no-brainer. And he's nothing, he thinks everything's an ice cream cone because it's all got to be licked 1,000 times. He's 3 months old and 3 pounds. He is not expected to get past 10 pounds, which means he will be smaller than Marvel. But he is poofier than Marvel. And Marvel does not know what to make of him. He was scared of him at first. They're getting along fine now, but he will give as good as he takes when Marvel growls or barks at him. He gets down on the ground, puts his head at this really uncomfortable angle looking up at him, and then growls and barks back. But it's a puppy growl, so it's like it's ridiculous. Yeah, it's one of the most endearing things I've ever seen. Fortnite, been playing a lot of that. I believe I'm currently 133, I think. I need 3 more levels for Slime Rick, and then we get to see what happens. Drogodan says I have 1,280 hours of Warframe. See? Everybody's chiming in on long-term gaming. And then we get to see what the next page of rewards are because they have them closed off until you actually get to them, which Matt hates because he wants his rewards spoon-fed to him without choice.
I forgot about that. Yeah, I don't like that. Just give me the dumb things.
If it makes you feel any better, you've got to buy them all anyways in order to get whatever the big thing is on the page. So
yeah, I know. It just give me the don't make me think about it. Just do it.
I do like their choice of weapons to introduce this season, mainly because it's a risk reward kind of thing. Like you can go with a sniper rifle, which is tried and true, and you know how they work, or you can get a railgun, which lets people know because it puts a laser beam out there to show where you're going to shoot, and it has to charge up. And then it fires. And it does way more damage and knockback than the sniper rifle, but with the drawbacks that I said. And it's kind of like that for each of the weapons. They have a ray gun that you can get off the aliens, and it does infinite amount of damage, but it overheats after a period of time, and the amount of damage you do depends on how close or far you are. And so closer up, it's much more deadly than if it's across a field, and that takes a weapon slot. So do you slot that, or do you slot a long distance, a longer distance weapon like an AK? So I kind of like the choices you have to make for some of this stuff. I'm having a lot of fun with it. I think this is probably, like, I really liked the Marvel season, but I think so far this is actually topping that for me. It's a lot of fun. Been playing Divinity Original Sin 2 on Wednesdays. For the game, Rifts Ukraine on Thursdays, Emancipation of Dragons on Mondays. DeMeo is a new VR game. I don't have my VR hooked up, so I played just a little bit of it non-VR just to see what it would do, and it didn't like that. Baldur's Gate 3, I kind of popped back in. They haven't done an update yet, but they've got one coming soon. Divinity Original Sin 2, I already said. Celesta Crown of the Magister is another D&D 5e CRPG that's on PC that just came out of early access, and it has crowdsourced content. So I've been playing through some of that, and that's interesting and fun. And it uses the 5e rule set as well, and it's a very vertical game. A lot of strategy involved with things being up or down, so that's kind of interesting. I bought Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance because I'm a sucker, and It's exactly the same game it was back on the PS2, and it's fun. It's fun. It has no online multiplayer, but you can local share it with a friend and play together on it. So that's good. And then Ken and I were playing Baldur's Gate 2, whatever the one was that came out on there's less than 1,000 people that own it on PS4. So yeah, it's one of the, I think it might be Baldur's Gate 1 actually. I don't remember what the Baldur's Gate : whatever the thing that comes after it is, but it is a action RPG third person D&D based thing. So it's kind of interesting. And watching AEW continues to be good, except that it's on at crap time, which is Fridays and Saturdays right now because of the NBA playoffs. So I'll be happy when it goes back to Wednesday where it belongs. They are launching a new Friday show called AEW Rampage. So they've already exceeded, between Dark Elevation on Monday, Dark on Tuesday, normally them on Wednesday. That's already way more wrestling than I can watch. So I'll never be able to keep up on it. Hamilton, we watched it again recently, and The King is still my favorite. The Voice, we finally finished out this season of The Voice. It was good, but it took us forever to finish it. And then I am all caught up on Loki, and it is killing me that Matt still has not watched episode 2 because I want to talk to him about it, specifically because of the setup of the show.
Killing me.
Yeah, it's kind of killing me too.
Killing us.
Yes,
Killing us.
to watch In the Heights that just dropped on HBO Plus, I think. So yeah.
Well, there was a Titans trailer too for season 3.
Oh, you'll have to let me know, Drogodan, how to. Oh, you type /played in chat. I'll have to check Star Trek Online because I should have, between the PS4 version and the PC version, I should have a lot of hours logged into that. I don't have 30 characters though. That's kind of nuts. Just saying. To watch In the Heights that just dropped. I got to rewatch Falcon and Winter Soldier, and then Loki again with the wife. The new He-Man show that we talked about from Kevin Smith. I'm super excited about that. The new Critical Role show called Exandria Unlimited is an 8-episode mini campaign that starts next Thursday. And the reason it's topical is Matt She-Ra is playing in it.
Ooh.
So the voice of She-Ra will be one of the players, and it's her first time playing D&D, and she's already like, I will never not play D&D again. So yeah, that's pretty cool.
Nice.
I've been reading Fortnite Batman Zero Point, and it actually it gives away a lot of the lore of the game. I'm actually really surprised at how much lore it has had, and it still managed to be a pretty good Batman story as well. We are going to be giving the last issue of this comes out not this Wednesday, but the following Wednesday. When that happens, we will be giving away all 6, which gets you, you get the Harley Quinn skin, her back bling, you get a bunch of other back blings and stuff for characters, and then you will also get the new Batman skin, and I believe you can only get that for entering all 6 codes from the comic book. So we'll be giving that away. Just watch the streams. We'll totally be promoting that a lot because that's even issue number 1 is already up to $20, so that's pretty cool. And then also Planet-Sized X-Men. I could kiss Hicks for starting the most interesting X-Men storyline since the introduction of Bishop. We all know that was the best storyline of all timelines. But beyond that, this is like the entire concept of it for a longtime X-Men reader was mind-bending as it was, and it just keeps getting better and keeps pushing the envelope out. and making you think about the X-Men in different ways than you ever have before. And big clap. Big clap. To do this weekend, I've got an unboxing to record for Beatles and Grimm's Ravenloft set, and then doing a music reaction for Pete and Boss Golf. And Pete and Boz Golf. What am I saying? And that's it for me. So let's turn to E3. And I'll kick us off with the first thing, which is, of course, well, maybe I will. Maybe I won't. Oh, there we go. Oh, there it is. Yeah, on the platform. Elden Ring finally got a release date.
Making an album has been like psychological
Be quiet.
chaos.
No, be quiet. There we go. Okay. Elden Ring got a release date. They had their gameplay finally revealed. The release date is January 21st, 2022, which is actually a lot sooner than I expected it to be. It looks like basically a open world Dark Souls, which is kind of what everyone was expecting. And it looks great. Miyazaki and George R.R. Martin are writing it, creating the world together. I am super down for this. I'm very interested to see exactly what they're doing, but we kind of guess it's with the Tree of Life that touches all the realms, and you play as a lord that has been cast down. And you Blacksmith says, so another game to place billions of hours of my life into? Yes, 100% yes. And it looks absolutely stunning, absolutely beautiful. I'm super psyched for it. This was probably my number one piece of news and reveal to come out of E3, even though it didn't happen at E3. It actually happened at Jeff Keighley's Summer of Games thing before E3. But hey, I'm not going to complain or nitpick on it. Other than to say that E3 kind of sucked this year, and I'm not sure they really need to keep doing it, but that's a different conversation. So yeah, who's got the next one?
I guess I'll go. The only thing, Elden Ring doesn't really do it for me. I'm glad it's got its reveal, and I'm glad folks are going to be able to get to play it, because George R.R. Martin could have basically just rolled it till he died. But Metroid 5, that totally came out of nowhere. Everyone was expecting Metroid Prime 4, which had previously been teased, 3 years ago? Everyone was kind of thinking that would be what's going to come up out of that. But no, they dropped a Metroid 5, which is, the last numbered Metroid was Fusion back on Game Boy Advance. I always want to put a D on there. There's no Advance. It's not Game Boy Advanced. It's Game Boy Advance.
I had real issues when they said it's been 19 years, and I'm like, yeah, right. Yeah, oh,
No, yeah, they weren't counting Zero Mission, or the reissue of 2.
right. But
That's
that's
because
still,
0 is not a number.
Yeah,
0 is a number. It just
No, it's not.
yes, it is.
it's like the color
Okay.
white. It's the
Don't-
lack
don't-
of a number.
Don't argue with the engineering student, please. But yeah, no, it's the direct sequel to 4, to Fusion. So Samus has got the new suit design that came out of the events of Fusion. Looks like there's some big bad robots chasing her around that you really can't kill very much. So there's going to be kind of a almost Resident Evil 2-esque element to it, it seems like. But otherwise it looks like it's a 2D side-scrolling Metroid game, and I am there all day for that. So October 8th this year, so don't even have to wait that long for it, because we're old and time travels really fast.
I was waiting for when they were talking about, during the conference, they started saying well, we're going to describe the gameplay, of Metroid, for the people that don't know. And I really wish you would just said, it's like all those indie games you're playing that's ripping us off these years. Because
Well, actually, they're ripping off Castlevania, which ripped off Metroid. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, the whole subgenre, subgenre, whatever, is called Metroidvania. So I mean, that's that says something there. But there's been that genre has been alive and well, and there's just been so many, great indie games that are hitting that style that have done an acceptable job of it. But to have a new, true Metroid game come out is pretty awesome.
Drogodan, thank you for the resub for your 8th month in a row. Thank you for that. You are a rock star.
Nice.
Also, make sure you type ! sticker because there's some free stickers that you can do over the stream, which are fun.
The only thing that did kind of bring me down a little bit was watching the Treehouse video. Is there seems to be a focus on this melee counter move that you've got for this one, which isn't unique to this one. It was introduced, I think, in Other M first.
Yeah.
To me, what Metroid does differently than most of the genre is it is the only prominent ranged one. Everything else wants you to get in with swords or something close range, primarily, not exclusively, but a lot of them do. And the fact that if they're pulling back from that ranged experience, I don't know, that you have to actually get in and play it and see how much of it is really that, right? Were they just featuring it because it's the thing that they wanted to feature, or is it really that prevalent of an element of gameplay? But that was the only down part to it for me. That's the only thing that gave me any doubt about the game. But
all right, who's got the next one?
Yeah,
I don't think this was E3, but it kind of tails in on the Metroidvania stuff, and I really don't have anything else to say, so I'm going to say it. There was apparently a registered on an Australian website, ratings website, for it looks like a Game Boy Advance Castlevania collection that's going to be re-released.
I saw that, actually. I don't remember where I saw that, but I do remember reading. I was like, wow, that's a weird play not to put on Switch and to put it on, or was it for Switch from the Game Boy Advance? I was confused.
I'm assuming it's going to be on the Switch, but I didn't even think about that. But yeah, so it's allegedly there's going to be a Game Boy Advance collection of Castlevanias dropping to be played on modern machines. So that'll be pretty cool because those are some fantastic games.
Well, I'll take the. Wait, Daniel, you've got one.
I have a lot, but none of them are E3.
That's okay. Inject non-E3 stuff into our E3 coverage because that way people can be up to date and get a palate cleanser from all the video game stuff.
So you guys know the secret layers from Magic the Gathering, right? They're like mini releases.
Yes.
We got an announcement here recently. Well, within the last 10 days or so, that Stranger Things is coming to a secret lair near you.
I'm super actually excited about that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think that's pretty neat. And that comes after, some of the other D&D and Warhammer and some of the others that we've seen announced over the last couple months.
I'll take the next one. Let's see. The Starfield was finally
There's nothing like kicking back with the fam after a long
for Xbox and PC only. Bethesda released an announcement saying, we know it can be difficult and frustrating for PS5 players to have to deal with exclusivity on certain games. And I'm like, dude, PS5 has so many exclusive games that I'll let Xbox have Bethesda games. That's fine. But still, it was their first look at Starfield during their Xbox Bethesda E3 showcase.
Are people really shocked that it's not? I find that odd.
I don't.
That's the purpose of buying companies like that.
Yeah,
to have exclusives.
I think it's a small, loud group, is what it is.
Probably. And, big deal. I mean, November 11th, 2022, it's being described as both a Skyrim in space and Han Solo simulator. So, if you really want to play it, get a PC like me.
Yup.
I'm sure it will run on not the top of the line stuff. They usually do a good job of.
PC gaming is dead.
PC gaming is not dead. In fact, I'm actually really considering, if I had more time, I would sincerely consider getting the Game Pass just because of how many freaking games comes with it every month. It's so good for the money.
I actually just downloaded a PC game.
What'd you download?
Zach McCracken and the Alien Mindbenders.
Did you know there's a Jay and Silent Bob beat 'em up brawler game?
No.
Yeah. And it's on, I'm pretty sure it's on PS4 also.
Wait a minute. I had to.
Yeah, I think it came out at the same time as the Jay and Silent Bob reboot, if I remember correctly.
It reminded me a lot of Toe Jam and Earl.
With more jumping and kicking. If we're talking about the same one. All right, who's got the next one? Starfield.
Nintendo released a bombshell Zelda announcement.
Oh, good. I was actually on that, so huzzah.
Yeah. So I'm really excited for it. It is a Game & Watch Zelda collection.
Oh, dang it. You're a bad person.
See, I thought he was going to talk about the Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity DLC announcement.
I mean, even
that was pretty,
even that would have been actually a game at least. Good God.
It is a game. It is the classic Zelda games in a Game & Watch form factor. It is fantastic. It's even green like Zelda.
What is wrong with you?
What's
I'm sorry.
gold?
I'm gonna have to
I thought it was
interject the
gold.
real thing.
Yeah, it's
now
like
that you've
it's like
done
green
this.
it's green and gold instead of the other one, which was the red and gold,
Yeah.
like the original.
Now
Keegan,
that
did you want to take?
I do have it on pre-order. I don't care.
I
hate you all.
Matt, if you want to do it, I'm fine with that, but we have to talk about it because it's literally playing in the top left of the screen now because I thought that's what he was queuing up.
That's fine. You can get. I thought Keegan because he is the Legend of Zelda guy.
I
in this
do a
house.
very bad job of keeping on track.
All
of
right, go,
stuff,
go,
so
Mark.
I
All
don't
right,
know.
so Nintendo closed out its E3 Direct with a new gameplay trailer for The Legend of Zelda Breath of Wild 2, which looks like it has a lot of time shenanigans and being able to backwards travel as a raindrop up through things where water shouldn't go. But yeah, it looks amazing. And they revealed it would be a 2022 release window. My personal bet is Q3 or 4 2022.
It'll drop right next to the new Switch hardware, or whatever that ends up being called.
Yeah. You Blacksmith really wants us to talk about Minecraft 1.17.
I think it's terrible. I liked 1.16 way more. All the changes from 1.17 to 1.16.
Is that a legitimate thing?
Apparently there was an update. Oh.
I'm asking if he actually wants to talk about it because I can talk to it.
Oh, hey, yeah.
Do it.
Oh, here we go.
Some of the updated stuff, the updated villager AI, and it. I mean, when it comes down to it, one of the best things I think about Minecraft is the capability for modding, and it opened the door for a lot of additional mod stuff. But there are a lot more dungeon items found below ground, and a lot more brick types and stuff for redstone in this last update. A whole bunch more animals, a whole bunch more bad guys. It's actually one of the biggest updates I think I've seen. And I haven't played a lot, but I get talked at by my 11-year-old about Minecraft and Fortnite constantly.
By the way, Dave, this is what a good father sounds like.
My kid's playing Minecraft now.
Yeah, but he also plays Fortnite.
He doesn't play. He's not there yet. I don't know what to tell you.
But you can show him the ropes if you started before him.
I don't care.
And be better than him for a while.
I don't care. That's the problem.
Thanos is coming. I didn't talk about that. Like legit, Thanos is coming as a skin this next week.
And everybody else will have it before me, or everybody else will be running around with it, and it's not special.
I mean, if you started before the 21st, you would buy it the same time as everyone else, and then they wouldn't have it before you. So I'm just saying it's personal preference.
Where do I get this time to play it? Like, there's other games I want to play.
It's really easy. About 30 minutes less of Animal Crossing a day.
Yeah, but that means I wouldn't be having that 30 minutes of joy every day. You don't want to take my joy away from me?
It's a different form of joy.
I don't think so. Having my ass handed to me by a bunch of people online is not fun.
When
So
you're
Charlie?
brand new, you're just playing against bots, so you'll win anyway.
I actually thought the same thing. I've never been good at these games, and since playing with Mark, I win matches against 99 other players about a third of the time.
And by the way, Drogonhand says, yes, we all want to take your joy away.
Oof.
I mean, I don't blame them.
Pretty soon, there's not going to be anything but stacked cats in Dave's field of view. We won't be able to see him at all.
And this one's particularly large.
Which Animal Crossing are we talking about? Animal Crossing for Switch.
Yes.
New Horizons? Is that right? New Horizons?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's actually really good.
Yeah, it is very, very good.
Yeah.
All right, who's got the next one? We're never going to... Oh, Daniel, you take the next one.
Well, did Keegan have one? Because I think we've skipped him 3 times.
I don't have. Oh,
Okay.
wait, I
make
do
sure.
know the new Smash DLC, which is Kazuya from Tekken.
Really?
Yeah, that's a new Smash DLC.
Actually, he has probably the best reveal trailer of all time for any Smash, because if you know anything about Kazuya, he was thrown off of a cliff into a volcano by Heihachi as a child. And so literally it shows him beating people in game and then walking them and throwing them all off the cliff. And the only one that survives is Kirby, because of course he's not going to die.
My favorite thing about Smash Brothers, though, is just the amount of respect, obviously, because of who makes it, that they show for Kirby, and it's just a wonderful thing. I love it, and that's why I always support that game, just for that fact alone, because Kirby's the man.
All right, now Daniel, you go.
So, something I actually thought was amazing news, and that it may be colored by nostalgia, but a new 5e campaign setting has popped up on Kickstarter called Adventures in Oz. And it is a in-depth campaign setting. The creators and writers of the campaign setting went into the books and pulled lore from all of the books for all of the character races, monsters, plot developments, locations, everything like that. So it actually looks incredibly interesting on them bringing this to stores near you. I'm not sure if it's going to be one of those kickstarts that actually ends up in your gaming store, but I kind of hope it does. Tagged onto that, I just received I don't kickstart very many items, but I just received my first kickstarted item, which is Anime 5e, which is the most recent BESM spiritual successor.
That's Big Eyes, Small Mouth.
Big Eyes, Small Mouth. It's an anime role-playing game, but this is a 5e version where you play a fantasy anime character of pretty much any race with protagonist powers and normal classes. It is in no way balanced with normal D&D. But it is really, really interesting, and how they did it is really, really interesting. But anyway, definitely if you are a fan of that kind of universe and style and over fantastical fantasy, maybe Adventures in Oz is for you.
You know, you keep pulling a Dave on me too. I keep thinking you're going to talk about the two.
So it's
Official
next on my
announcements.
list.
Okay.
I actually put all of my tabs in order, and
Yeah,
I
yeah.
have like 4 of them for that one topic. So I'm waiting.
Okay, got it. Because I'm all like, oh, okay, I can show a picture now. No.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
I do have another one real quick.
Okay, go. You're
That's
That's a
such
cat.
dork.
Just a cat.
Oh, sorry. I forgot the camera. Doesn't matter. I mean, people want to see this anyway.
Yes.
You are such a Thanos fan. You're even wearing the shirt.
Yeah, you look like Dr.
Join
Claw.
us.
It's
Join us.
I'll get you yet, Gadget.
I'll get you yet, Gadget.
See?
If it's the last thing I do.
See, I knew it.
the so my favorite one of my favorite games that I was dying for a Switch version, WarioWare, is finally coming to the Switch. So I'm really excited about that. They're probably going to do a lot of crazy things there, and it's even going to have 2-player. So I'm going to be able to involve my son in that. So that's going to be fun.
But will it be Waluigi?
Maybe. Who knows?
I hope so. Let's see.
I
Go ahead.
do have a
Metroid.
Square Enix's announcements were so bittersweet for me because I get excited and then I get sad.
Listen, man, I totally didn't even put them in the list. That's how bad it was. Is I totally forgot because I had already dismissed everything I saw.
Well, so I got really excited because they announced this Pixel Remaster Collection, which is all of the pixel art Final Fantasies 1 through 6, and it's coming out on Steam and mobile. Okay, maybe Steam, but I don't really. And mobile just barf, which means they're probably going to have mobile controls in the Steam. They're probably going to be ports of the mobile implementations, which just means they're going to suck. Anyway, so that got that, and then they're like, oh, okay, here's a cool kind of maybe, hack and slash Final Fantasy. Oh, Origins. Okay, are we going back to the... And then they pull out this drabbest looking Dante Nero ripoff main character who just wants to get chaos.
We must get chaos.
Chaos. It's just it's terrible. And then to tap it off, they put a demo for this game out on PS5 and it won't launch. I mean, it's fixed now, but for 3-4 days, you could not launch this demo that was out on the store for this terrible looking game, which I still haven't played. So I still don't know if the demo is as bad as the trailer or not.
And you can't see it right now, but I put the UN sticker up in the top left because Square Enix won E3 in the bad way.
Yeah. And then there was Guardians of the Galaxy, which
you win.
Some of it I really liked, and some of it was kind of we'll see. We'll find out a lot more about that one.
I was much more excited until I saw who was developing it.
Well, and that's, it doesn't look great, in my opinion. I don't care about Star-Lord having blonde hair and not looking like the movie character. That's whatever. It's a game, you're not really going to be staring at his face anyways. But what bothers me is the fact that you have this rich, diverse team of very different people, and you're only going to get to play Quill the entire time. That's a pretty huge letdown. And on top of that, the combat sections that they do show look a little
meh,
hit miss, generic. Yeah, I'm definitely this is going to be a. Daniel teased me immediately. I was like, I think I might wait on this one. He's like, but then how are you going to score it on launch day? And I'm like, I'm not. I'm going to wait till the reviews come in from other places because I don't think I'm going to buy this right off the bat after being burned by the most expensive Avengers version possible. So, yeah.
And the fact that they're both Eidos Montreal, doesn't help that.
I just still thinking back of when I was going, no, I think I'm really going to wait on this, guys. And Mark was so mad at me for that.
Well, so I still like Avengers. I still like
don't.
it.
Stop it.
No,
Now he
I
has to
do. I
defend
do.
it.
Like
Just
the core
defend.
gameplay elements
Dude,
are
you
good.
don't have to. I've
But the
purchased
way
many
that they
games where
implemented
I
it, the way
hated
that
them.
they did the thing where you can only have one of everybody on your team, just so dumb. I mean, yeah, they've done. You Blacksmith is like, wait, what? You can only play Quill? Yeah. They pretty much said you can only play Quill during this. So it's like
I have a
okay.
feeling that'll be, there'll be DLC
Changed.
to be able to play the other characters. I'm 87% sure that will be a thing, but
That's the wrong way to go about that.
It is.
not disagreeing. I'm just saying.
Yeah. No. So yeah, great. If you've got that one, then I've got Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora was announced after an advertisement. This was the end of Ubisoft's E3 showcase, which people seem to not like as much as Square Enix this year from all the chatter online and all the chat. They did announce a new Mario Rabbids game, which I think that series is great personally. But yeah, they did announce Avatar Frontiers of Pandora is 2022 release on PS5, Xbox Series X, and PC. I'm sort of like, why? On one hand, on the other hand, maybe the movie's coming out soon, and this will support it. I don't know for sure. Put it this way: are any of you excited about this?
No.
Nah.
And silence from Daniel means no, and a cat has probably eaten Dave. So,
No, we're good. We're just
Chilling.
oh,
Yeah,
yes, I played Raving Rabbits, of course. It
Yeah.
was a fantastic game.
Wait, were we talking about the Mario one?
No, we're actually talking about Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora.
Oh yeah, no, I was right when you said that. I was like, wait, yeah, I am excited for that. Not the Avatar one.
You're excited for the Mario Rabbids too.
Yeah, I'm shocked that's getting a sequel.
Well, it must have sold decently enough.
Apparently.
So yeah, but if you think about it, at that time there were no other games for the Switch.
It's true.
It was like one of the 4 games you could buy.
It was one of the quality ones that came out at the. Was it? It was like a couple weeks after launch, right?
Yeah, it was like it wasn't long, maybe not more than 2 weeks. I don't think.
Yeah, it was real early in the launch cycle.
Yeah, and it was really good for a launch game as well. So yeah, Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora. Who's got the next one?
Can we stop saying it? Like if you stop saying it, it might go away.
Okay, well it just did.
It won't go away. I'm intrigued, but I don't play video games, so.
Except for Fortnite and Minecraft, like the 2 biggest games on the entire planet. So he doesn't play anything.
That's a fair point. I take it back. That's a fair point. I only play popular games.
He's the anti-hipster.
That's right.
Yeah,
we truly have both ends of the spectrum now covered with Daniel and Dave. That's hilarious.
So say the unpopular games is my gig. We're not step off.
Who's got the next one?
I have like 7 more.
Yeah, go for it.
Knock it out.
All right, so this one's going to be the bigger one, and it's the one that Mark was talking about. And I'm going to start with The Wild Beyond the Witchlight. D&D, or Wizards of the Coast, has announced 2 big books coming this year. There's actually a handful of books coming this year. But The Wild Beyond the Witchlight is the beginning of their next adventure storyline that brings the wicked whimsy of the Feywild into 5th edition for the first time. We saw a little bit of this in 4th edition. They brought out the Eladrin and some of the neat evil dark Fey stuff with the Dark Circus and stuff in 4th edition. Other than that, we didn't see a lot of it in 3rd edition. Until really late in 3rd edition. So I'm interested. I know my partner is very interested in this book because it is an adventure storyline, but is supposed to have details for new characters, monsters, mechanics, story hooks, backgrounds, feats. I think a handful of new class subtypes, subclasses, and a handful of new races to include fairies and
Well,
rabbit people and owl people.
and the one thing that Daniel turned to me and said, I know what I want to play if my character dies. And I was like, no, because Lexi will straight up quit the
Oh,
game.
that's a different story. That's a different book.
Oh, that's not this one?
Nope, that's a different book I'm going to be talking about. This one is Fae. I'm going to be talking about Van Richton's Guide to Ravenloft.
Oh, that's right. My bad.
Yep.
My bad.
But this is for Wish Beyond the Wild Beyond Wishlight, which is focused mainly on the Fae and kind of some of the dark and neat stuff about the Fae. But it's their new adventure storyline that should take characters from 1 to 20. So that's the first half of this report. The second half is for another book where that was an adventure path that Wizards of the Coast is looking at doing. Strixhaven Curriculum of Chaos will be the next Magic the Gathering setting for Dungeons and Dragons. It is, they haven't released very much information about it. Around beginning of July, first week of July, we should get more information on this book. But we do have some images, including one that has an owl person, which I think is a Fluff Aarakocra, which you can also see on Mondays on this channel. But the Curriculum of Chaos was one of the let's see. The University of Strixhaven is a magical university located in the plane of Archvios and is the preeminent school for the multiverse's elite mages. It was also the focus of the latest Magic the Gathering set, Strixhaven. Wow. School of Mages. And at the time, it provided players a look at the 5 distinct colleges that comprise the academy. I think this might be D&D's version
of
Harry Potter.
Yep, 100%.
But a little bit more
Nice.
grown up and with more adventures.
When I saw
Nice.
when I saw they were announcing it for Magic the Gathering, I'm like, oh, this is a more like magic focused Harry Potter because of all the spells and all the different schools and basically splitting them into the 5 colors of magic. I'm like, oh, this is a really interesting way to interpret that. And so now they're bringing it here. I'm super excited.
Yeah, so there is a book that goes into Ravnica, which is the other Magic the Gathering campaign setting book that we already have. And it goes into the 5 different elements a little bit, but it doesn't go into it very well. And I'm really hoping that this does a better idea. I would love to have a white mage of the plains and actually play it as that. And I'm hoping we get new spells and especially the ability, a easier ability to have players craft balanced magic.
Yep.
That's what I'm hoping this book brings us.
Me too. I'm super excited about both of these books.
Yeah. They are definite must includes for my library. And it's funny, I really expected somebody to say that I really hate D&D. But my D&D book library is still growing. But we're looking at Strixhaven School of Mages coming in November, and I believe the other Beyond Witchlight shows up in September, end of September, 21 September. So end of this year. Look for it in brick and mortar stores near you.
Who's got the next one?
Well, hearing nothing, I'll go. My Switch doesn't get nearly enough love. I don't get onto it nearly as much as I should, and that is a problem. But 2 other things from the Nintendo announcement was one, a new Fatal Frame game, Maiden of Blackwater. I've never played a Fatal Frame game, and I don't know why, because every time I see one, it's like, I love this concept, and I love the concept of this game, which is weird because I hate horror as a genre, basically, generally. But anyway, so I'm going to give this one some serious consideration because I think I need to finally actually buckle down and actually play a Fatal Frame game. And another series that has been going on for a long time that I've never actually dug into that I've always wanted to is the Shin Megami Tensei series, which is the series that Persona spun out of. The first one was actually SMT Persona. And so we got some gameplay and story beats of 5, the fifth numbered entry in the series coming out soon, November 12th. And that's right around my birthday, so I might have to go ahead and give that a shot too. So yeah, those are 2 other titles out of E3. That is the end of my E3 news. I do have one more thing that's not E3 related that I want to hit before we're done.
Okay. Well, I am not the largest fan of Borderlands, but I will tell you something that they did very right, and that was a Tiny Tina's DLC a while back that was set in something called Bunkers and Badasses, which was basically their ripoff of D&D, and they told the story as if it was a D&D game being played, and they basically announced Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, which is a Borderlands spin-off set in a fantasy world, and it's set after the Borderlands 2 DLC Assault on Dragon's Keep. That was the name of the previous one. It's a 4-player co-op with a world that changes to fit the narrative, and then Ashley Birch is voicing it as she did the first time, along with Will Arnett, Andy Samberg, and Wanda Sykes. So if you're going to get a cast, that sounds like a good cast.
Wow. That's actually pretty awesome.
Yeah, and it looks, I hate to say it, but, Borderlands has never exactly been my formula. Like, it's never clicked for me all the times, but when you put it in a fantasy settings, I'm suddenly more interested. And so they're doing magic, and they're doing all kinds of stuff to make it, on par with Dungeons and Dragons. So, and there's a unicorn. So there's that too.
Nice.
Yeah. So anyways, I'm interested to see it, but that should be coming out. I don't believe they put a hard fast. I don't think they put a release date for it yet. Other than say hey, this is in development, it's coming. So that's actually a Borderlands project, early 2022. Yeah.
Nice.
So no defined date yet. And yeah. So that's almost all of mine. But Daniel, let's go back to you.
So we had the release of Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft, Van Richten being one of the well-known heroes of the Ravenloft setting. And he... There. It's essentially a guide that walks through Ravenloft in a better way than even the Ravenloft book that's out, because the Ravenloft book that's out is very much a adventure path, a module. It has a lot of details on Barovia, where Ravenloft takes place, but doesn't have a lot of additional details or how to make your own domains of dread, or how really to work horror into your campaign setting. This book is probably one of my favorite releases that Wizards of the Coast has done for 5e. I think it's very well written, and it really gets deep into that. I will say I am a big horror fan, though, and I love running horror for role-playing games, so that may play into it. I am planning on doing a small review for it for Nano Nerd, but this is one of the things Mark was talking about. Is there's a monster in here that is called a Carionet, and it is a living doll monster that stabs you with the needle, and when it stabs you with the needle, it trades places with you. So you go into the doll, and it goes into you.
Oh,
and,
fun.
And if your fellow players are like, "Oh God, stop it! Kill the doll!" and then they kill the doll, you're dead.
Oh my.
But I was telling Mark that that's what I want to play. I want to play a Carionet that's been stuck in the in the body of the doll.
Yeah, and I was telling Daniel that Lexi would immediately nope out of the entire campaign, and she would never play D&D again. So
Oh my.
Not a
She
fan
would
of
put
creepy
down
dolls.
roots, turn into a real tree, and leave.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Not a fan of the dolls. But there are a lot of really neat additional subclasses in here that kind of lean on the horror aspect. There's also a couple more races, including kind of one that's been reborn back into into life. So they're kind of between the dead and living, kind of like a revenant that we've seen before in D&D. But really, really neat. And then they have a handful of backgrounds that are really into that too. So I wish this book had come out prior to us starting Emancipation of Dragons, because there is a lot of stuff I probably would have added to my character for kind of that creepy background stuff. But that came out in May. And if you like Ravenloft, or if you are a fan of kind of the horror genre and want to add some to your game as a player or GM, I definitely think it is a good purchase. And that's me for this one.
Okay.
And one of the big things with that too is they kind of pulled it out of the classic Warner horror movies too, right? So a lot of the old Ravenloft stuff was, almost torn directly out of those old, Monster of the Black Lagoon, Frankenstein, Dracula, black and white films, right? So this kind of evolves it into a more modern construct.
This fleshes out the that aged version of the Nosferatu. Yeah, it does a good job of taking what used to be one of the, well, I mean, depending on who was running it, one of the scariest campaign settings. Ravenloft, even for second edition, it was there were a lot of things that could get really scary depending on what you were doing, and really fleshed it out and modernized it. You're absolutely right.
And make sure to check in with your players' DMs.
Yes, check with your players and check with your GMs, and definitely find out what triggers, if any, your group might have. Definitely.
Only because not everybody, like Matt, likes horror.
Yeah.
Microsoft announced Forza Horizon 5 will be dropping on November 9th. It is going to take place in Mexico, which will, according to them, be home to the most largest and most diverse Horizon ever. The thing that's crazy about this, especially as you watch the video, is this is the engine they're using for the new Fable. And it is incredibly detailed. Now, when you're playing Horizon, a lot of the time you don't really get to see it because you're, zipping around, zooming by. But it's pretty doggone impressive. And that's I love racing games, and we don't get enough of them on the PlayStation side. So when this drops on PC, I might actually pick this up because it looks freaking great.
No, I forget. Was this a Horizon or was this the regular Forza?
No, it's the Horizon, which
are more arcadey, right?
Which is the ones I like, as opposed to the Sims, which is like what's
Gran
the place?
Turismo.
Gran Turismo, and I can't stand it.
Yeah. Oh God, I remember like being excited for one. Like I remember when I got like a PS3 and there was like a demo for Gran Turismo. I was like, oh, let me check this out. This looks awesome. And I started playing it, and I'm like, this is awful.
I'm telling you, I don't know why no one reboots San Francisco Rush. Do it now. It was one of the best racing games of all time.
My God, I played that to death on the Dreamcast. I even got a steering wheel for that game.
Yeah, me too. 100%.
That game was so much fun.
So good. I'm going to burn through the rest of these. Outer Worlds 2 as an Xbox PC exclusive from Obsidian. Rainbow Six Extraction, which is not what anyone was expecting out of that. An objective PvE-based game. Sea of Thieves is getting a Pirates of the Caribbean crossover. Flight Simulator is getting a Top Gun expansion. And
Nice.
at
It
first,
still only plays at 30 frames a second.
well, at first, that sounds kind of silly. However, I don't know if we've ever gotten into this on the show. There is a subgenre of people who play the flight sims with like fully built cockpits.
Oh
and
yeah.
three panels
And
and
there's
stuff.
people who pretend to be control towers.
Yeah,
and
no,
all-
man,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
crazy how
That
deep it
one's-
goes.
That one's pretty funny. The control tower one, when I found out about that, that was pretty funny.
It
Like,
is, but I mean,
I totally get like the wanting to play the game and everything. I mean, you're talking about somebody who was like super excited to get a flight stick back with Flight Simulator on the Commodore 64. So,
I mean, if you do a Top Gun expansion for Flight Simulator with the way it looks, I mean, it's gonna be great. By the way, I don't know if you've looked at the mods for Flight Simulator, but they do have fully flyable Enterprises and things like that in there. Battlestar Galactica ships, all of them. So you should check it out. It's pretty great. Not gonna lie. I think that's really it for. Oh, Diablo 2 Resurrected release date was announced for September 23, which I will be buying because I am that guy.
Is that only what is that?
That's
What's that getting
everything.
on everything? Is
That's
that
on everything.
Okay.
Yeah, everything. Even Switch.
Nice.
So I'm super excited about that. And then Ubisoft, like, this isn't something I would normally cover, but to be honest, they're kind of almost the last one standing. Ubisoft announced they're doing a Rocksmith Plus subscription service. And it's like, what does Rock Band do now? Are you still playing it, Matt?
I haven't in probably 2 months.
It's really frustrating because the only way I can play it is to find my PS4 and come hook it up somewhere. Because all my stuff is downloaded to it and not my PS5, and I can't do it. And it's like, it doesn't recognize it. It won't let me play it. It's very frustrating. I mean, I can play it, but then I have none of my DLC, so what's the point?
Right.
It's very frustrating. They need to figure out something to help people with that.
Well, they need to actually make a new game and get rid of some of the backbone and legacy that what they did with 4 inherited for them or caused them to inherit that they can't get past. I mean, half the bugs that were in the game at launch are still there.
Right.
It's like, yeah, I mean, I get it. It's fun to pop out every once in a while, do some singing, play some songs, but we kind of lost the thread on it again. So we'll see when the exchange students come. Great way to work on English is to sing songs.
That's
So
100% true. Daniel, what do you got?
I have several. So do you want me to go one for bumper?
Go one, and then I'll see if I've got anything else. If I don't,
So the releasing just a couple days ago, Starfinder's newest book called the Galaxy Exploration Manual, which I've been waiting for a little while, it opens up not just brave new frontiers of exploration, but also unleashes a wealth of new character options to enable your PC's space traveling hijinks. I've read through kind of the synopsis of some of the things that have been added, and what it sounds like is anything that would pertain to a survival check in space. They have a lot of new gear and abilities that are that help you both in the vacuum of space, but also on these rugged planets you may be facing. And new gear, new abilities, new kind of backgrounds and that kind of stuff to further build and shuffle into your game.
You saying that made me wonder, because we talked about this briefly before, but has anything built an Expanse version for its world?
So there's actually an Expanse role-playing game.
Oh,
and
okay.
The few people I've met that have played it a couple times compare it to Traveler, which is actually a really good review for me, because Traveler is one of my favorite games, but the role-playing game is based much more on the books than the TV show. I have seen Starfinder conversions for nearly every sci-fi setting to include Expanse. And the biggest difference is for the Expanse setting that I saw that was off of Starfinder, so much had been cut away from Starfinder that you might as well just play the Expanse game. Because having humans only and no magic and having tech that works like tech instead of tech that works like super science tech, stuff like that, it had stripped so much away from the game that I don't know why they chose this system other than being a fan of this system. But the Expanse tabletop role-playing game is it's rated pretty well and for good reason.
Cool.
So I do. Oh, you have one?
I have one. It's a multi-part thing, but it's just one subject. So
All right.
I'm just going to roll it together quick. Comics. We all know that I'm pretty much a Marvel kid. Two of my favorite books of late have been the Venom run and the Immortal Hulk run. Venom run by Donny Cates as the writer and Al Ewing as on the Immortal Hulk. So what do you do with these two really well-reviewed runs with these two really beloved authors on them when they're coming to the end of their runs?
Ooh.
You just give them each other's book.
Yeah, strike that, switch it, reverse it. There you go.
Oh, did I do it backwards?
No. I was just.
You were doing
Willy
that.
Wonka.
Right. You were doing the Willy Wonka thing. Yeah. So we have coming up an Al Ewing and Ram V written Venom book with Brian Hitch doing the art, which looks amazing from the single shots we've gotten so far. And we have a Donny Cates doing Hulk. It's no longer Immortal Hulk. It's Hulk. In pencils by Ryan Otley, who Invincible. Also was the lead penciler on the latest run of Amazing Spider-Man, but that book comes out so often. There's about 4 artists, including Mark Bagley, who was my Spider-Man. So I appreciate that because I know a lot of people don't like the Bagley art, but it's my first Spider-Man artist that I collected. So, he's got a soft spot for me. So that's those are both exciting things that are coming up later this year. Donnie loves taking things and taking them in interesting directions and digging deep into the dark areas of people's minds and stuff. So that'll be interesting. And Al turning Hulk back into a horror book, and then coming and taking on Venom when he's essentially a god now. So yeah, this is very exciting for me, and the return of a character who should always have a book. This is a previous. No,
Aunt May.
No, it's Moon Knight. So Moon Knight's getting a new #1 new series written by Jed McKay. Interior art by, I'm going to butcher this name, Alessandro Cappuccio, I believe is how his last name's pronounced. At least the first arc's covers are going to be Steve McNiven, who is pretty well known for his Moon Knights. That's a Steve McNiven image. So last we saw him, he stole all the Avengers' powers and then took over the world and then beat Kenosha to a bloody pulp and then gave everybody their powers back and said laters. So we'll see what he's up to now.
That's a way to end.
Yeah, that's beat your god patron to a bloody pulp and walk away. And then not quite literally what happened, but that's basically what happened.
Yeah.
Some interesting stuff. We got a lot of long-standing runs that are coming to an end again here in the near future, and so we'll get some switch up. Just announced today or yesterday that who's the why can't I think of it? Nick Spencer, who's been writing Amazing Spider-Man. Well, he'll have written it for 74 issues when he leaves, is finally leaving. They have not announced who's picking up the book after that. I haven't been a huge fan of this run, so that's exciting for me. Get a new author in and some new blood in, but basically almost 3 years worth of run on that. So it's a solid run, and it's had some good stuff in it. It's just also had a lot of.
You know,
But, yep.
now that I think about this, was Invincible out when we did the last podcast?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it
Okay.
was over.
All right.
Yeah, I think,
Yeah, because
I
we
think
already
it was-
finished it up.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Last E3 thing I have is that Halo Infinite will be out Christmas this next year, or this year, excuse me.
Although all they showed was multiplayer, so people are still terrified of what the single player game looks like and is going to play like.
Well, I mean, you know, they're behind. I feel bad for the studio, right? Because they are between a rock and a hard place.
There's no winning.
There is no winning.
Yeah.
I mean, this was supposed to be a launch game to help drive the sales of the console, but it wasn't ready, obviously, from what we saw of the single player stuff before that they released. And people called them out on it, and so now they're taking the time to make it ready. You know, all I can say is hashtag bring Bungie back. I don't know what else to tell you. I mean, you've got a different studio trying to put this all together and take the code that Bungie had and Bungie knew. It's...
I don't know that. I mean, there's just a lot of like, I mean, even like I know like studios have like personnel changes all the time and everything. But I mean, for example, the Ratchet and Clank series. Insomniac makes them, they take all kinds of time and care into them. They farmed out the series for like one-off games for like the PSP. Remember when they did
Yep.
Ratchet and Clank game for there? They weren't terrible games,
Nope.
but they also, they
Lacked something.
right, there was something missing. They felt like kind of a generic Ratchet and Clank game as opposed to a Ratchet and Clank game from Insomniac. It's just what happens. Like you can't take something that was special and just drop it into another developer's hands.
Well, and even with their two campuses, when the South Carolina team made those two multiplayer games, All for One's okay, but that other one that was like a tower defense game was
There is
not
an exception
good.
to every rule.
Yeah.
And I will say the exception is Blue Point. Blue Point seems to be able to analyze any game and figure out what its soul is and then recreate it.
What have they done?
Yeah.
They just did the Dark Souls remaster.
And they did the Shadows of the Colossus remaster.
Yep.
Okay.
They've done a bunch of stuff now.
That's a remaster versus, I'm talking about like a new game in a series.
Yeah, but it's darn close. It's darn close.
What? If they're remaking a game, they have like everything in front of them. But if they're like to make a new game in the series,
well, we'll see if another Dark Souls comes out. Drogodan says, hot tip for anyone playing Star Trek Online PC version, genetic resequencer feel the weight of our presence is selling for under $2 million right now on the exchange. It is a new must-have for carrier captains like you, Daniel.
Yeah, no joke. That's amazing.
I'm gonna have to.
I'll have to
buy
scrape
one.
together my funds and
Yeah.
try to.
Well,
buy
let me
it.
know because I think I've got like 40 million or something. I'll give you.
Oh yeah, I have like a quarter of 1 million, I think.
Oh yeah, okay. Maybe shortly after this, if you have time, we'll log on and
Cool.
transfer stuff over to you. So yeah, what do you got left? I say do
Me?
them all in a row.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay. Dang it. All right. The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim, the board game, will apparently contain literally hundreds of hours of gameplay across its 2 campaigns. So it's by Modifius. My guess is this is going to be very similar to the Age of Conan board game with how they do campaigns. The players will take part as a party of heroes going across Skyrim and doing quests and, being an adventure. The co-op games, Band of Heroes, alongside completing any side quests they might discover along the way, players can expect to fight the likes of dragons, Daedra or demons, and trolls as they explore underground ruins, abandoned tombs, and Dwemer cities to complete quests or discover treasures. So it's looking like it will be a they are planning on it being a large campaign game where it takes a long time to play and beat.
Oh, you know what? I totally thought I pulled it up, and I pulled up something else. The Elder Scrolls V Shrines of the Nine Divines collectible vinyl figure set. That is not the board game.
No, also neat, but that is not the
Yeah,
board game.
that is
Modiphius has actually been one of the fastest growing game publishers on the market right now.
I'm looking to see if they have any
With
pictures.
Star Trek Adventures and the new Fallout miniatures war game, the Elder Scrolls Call to Arms miniature game, Dishonored role playing game. There's quite a few that they've been coming out with recently, but Modiphius is huge.
Drogodan just said he bought one for each of us.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. That's awesome.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
He also says he has a pile of Modiphius games.
Yes, I do too. And I've been slowly getting all of the additional Star Trek games because I love that system. I love the way that Star Trek Adventures runs. Anyway, so that is that. Cubicle 7, who is a different role-playing game producer, announced that they have Wrath and Glory, Litanies of the Lost, which is a Warhammer 40k game coming out, as well as a fantasy role-playing game and an Age of Sigmar Soulbound role-playing game kind of supplement book, all coming out pretty soon, actually. September, it looks like, maybe, or later this year.
I'm seeing Wrath, Glory, Litanies of the Lost in stock now.
Nice.
Oh no, it's pre-order.
Yeah, it should be pre-order. But yeah, there's so those are coming out pretty soon. Those are set in the Warhammer universe, which, as we know, is freaking dark. The game that Mark likes to run, the fantasy, the Warhammer fantasy game, you make your character and probably should count on that character dying within the first couple of sessions. My first game that I played in a game with his, we rolled randomly for everything because you can, and I think my name was like Grigori the Rat Catcher, and I was a rat catcher who worked in the cellars under the city.
This is all 100% accurate.
Yeah,
he rolled his name even.
Yes. And you roll physical attributes, not you roll your stats, but you also roll physical attributes. Believe it or not, the rat catcher that lived and worked in the sewers underneath the city didn't have a lot going for him here. Anyway, so that's
shock.
Yeah, shock. So that new Warhammer RPG titles, that's kind of interesting. Cubicle 7 was the one who released the newer Doctor Who series, which I think is written really well. So my hope would be that these two will be written very well and be good to go. And then I have one more.
Go for it.
And it's probably one of my favorite news pieces. A while ago, the internet came together and created SCPs, which is kind of like a Wikipedia page where people can write about creepy items that this Secure Protocols agency, Secure, Contain, Protect, can go and get these people or these items and then put them back and put them in storage or put them in these prisons to keep them safe or to keep the world safe from them. And it's essentially a whole bunch of horror fiction that is written by the internet-wide community. And they have like several thousand of these files now about these items and things that are brought back. And they have a couple of video games you can find on Steam. Control, which came out in 2019, I believe, was loosely based or was inspired by a couple different SCPs. kind of a big
I was
deal.
just thinking about Control as you were talking about
Yep.
that, and I was thinking, man, if you haven't played that, you should. It is right up your alley.
Yeah, it's really good. I really, really enjoyed it. So the point of this story is that SCPs are coming to a tabletop RPG near you. After a successful Kickstarter, it's looking like it is coming to Drive-Through RPG June 21st. So next Monday. And it's definitely one that will join my ever-growing collection of role-playing games I never get to run. But it's I love the stories. It is very horror-based. It's very creepy pasta,
Nice.
and it's but the interesting way that these are written, because there are actually templates and a format that you have to use when you write for this gigantic like Wikipedia of horror, is that they're written like data files, like reports that the SCP Foundation is writing on these items and what happened to them and why they're dangerous and that kind of stuff. So it's taking a kind of series of horror stories and pushing them into a really interesting story base and format. And so I'm really interested to see how these turn out as a role-playing game. And that's all I've got, I think.
All right.
All
I'm
right.
looking
Well,
around, but I
that
think
brings us
that's it.
then to the part of the show where we like to thank everybody for supporting us. You can do so, as always, by clicking on, the follow or the subscribe button like Dragonan did to become one of our rock stars. On YouTube, make sure you hit like, subscribe, and or the bell icon to be notified whenever we upload new content, which is every single day of the week, Monday through Friday. Or you can head to our Patreon page, patreon.com/Gamersledge, where you can get your name on every single show that we do for as little as $1 a month. Just like the fine folks that are scrolling across our screen, our boss Patreon and Twitch producers, Justin, Naomi, John, Regina, Lexi, Tim, Raimi, Axe, Mark, Eric, John, June, Pat, Tracy, Michael, Matt, Dave, Ken, John, and Arturo. Thank you again for all your support. And that's going to bring us to final thoughts. We'll go around the room and let's start with Keegan. Keegan, final thoughts.
Don't start with me.
Too late. We're already there.
Final thoughts are final. Looking forward to getting the Super Smash Bros. DLC character and seeing how he plays. It's always fun to deal with the new Smash words. Words are hard. Smash DLC. So yeah, I'll go with that.
All right. Matt, how about you?
I have just realized that we are mere weeks, to be precise, like 3 from having an in-theater MCU experience.
Ooh.
Wait.
Next month already is Black Widow.
Yep.
Oh, I keep forgetting about Black Widow. It's so bad. I don't have tickets yet. I'm like, I've gotten out of this habit. I don't know what to do.
I think
buy
there will
tickets?
be I think there will be plenty of tickets.
Yeah, I know. I'm not worried about that particularly. I'm just like, I don't even know, like with all of us going as a family, can we sit together or do we still have to sit, halfway across the theater from each other? And so I don't know. I have no idea. I haven't even looked at
I
this.
think you're all right to sit together.
But I don't know if they'll sell us tickets that way, right? Because they're assigned seats
they
at
do.
the theater. So
They do.
They do.
So
Okay.
yeah, I've been going to the movie theater now for a couple of weeks. So
Okay.
yeah, they will. They will.
All right.
You'll
So-
have spaces around you. People won't be able to sit, but your pod
Right.
should be fine.
Okay. So yeah, just that occurred to me like a couple of days ago. I saw the release date and realized that, oh my gosh, that's like 3 weeks away.
I feel really bad for Scarlett Johansson, because I just feel like this is not going to do the numbers they're expecting it to do.
It probably won't, but it'll probably break post-pandemic records, and that'll
Sure.
probably be the
I
mark
don't
that
know.
they're
People
looking
are
for. So
people want to get back into Marvel movies. Like
Mhm.
this is I don't think that's going to be. And,
It
and
didn't
apparently
stop.
early reviews are really good, and
Yeah.
you know there's some really glowing reviews from one actress in it. You know, I'm not going to go any further, you know, for spoiler reasons, but
And COVID didn't seem to have a factor. It didn't play much of a factor on the Demon Slayer movie because that just blew out everything out of the water when that came out.
I actually think that the timing that they have it is pretty smart, and that a lot of people who haven't been going to the movies will decide to go to the movies for Black
this is
Widow.
going to be the first one back.
Yep.
Mhm.
I mean, for me, it's going to be the first one back in the theater. So I know I'm not alone there. That this is going to be, you know, everything's starting to, you know, the restrictions are coming up. You know, everything's lightening up. People are more vaccinated than ever. It's, you know, it's people are going to be going.
So Daniel, final thought.
Happy Pride Month, y'all. I'm looking forward to the games we have coming up, to the books we have coming up. Looking forward to the role playing we have coming up. Make sure you check us out on Mondays and Thursdays specifically.
By the way, you need
yes.
to send me the link to that Kickstarter, by the way, because that's an instant buy for Lexi. That Oz based
Oh,
5e conversion.
Yeah,
Please
and
send me the deets.
it looks pretty awesome actually.
Send me the deets.
I will.
And then Dave, final thoughts.
Come on, we know what mine's going to be. If you're not playing Ratchet and Clank, you need to be.
Oh yes, and Tuesdays for role playing. Every other Tuesday is the Pulp 1930s. Savage
yes.
Worlds game.
I am so sorry, Dragon. Yes, absolutely.
And he successfully streamed this time. Which, if you saw episode 1, not so much, but it's episode 2 made it all the way up, and it was good.
It's actually a very different style of game too. I actually watched a good portion of that episode. I'm loving that how you're running that pulp.
He's like, "Woo, I did it." My final. Oh, sorry. So go ahead, Dave. What is your final thought?
Oh, it's just, you know, the PlayStation 5 has arrived, and Ratchet and Clank is the game.
Got it.
It's really
it
shows it off. It's
Mark. Yeah, Mark.
I know. I haven't bought it. I'm still like, I got stuff coming up.
Buy it now.
Yeah, what, you don't like fun? Is that what it is?
I do, but
is it only
buy it now.
PS5?
It's only PS5.
It's just because you don't have to, you know, make a spreadsheet for the game. Don't hold that against it.
That's not the issue.
Buy it now.
The only reason, Mark, the only reason I'm not playing is because I don't have a PS5. That's the only reason.
Yeah, well, when you come, maybe I'll think about buying it so you can play it. Because I have never connected to it the way you guys have. The way you guys have connected to it, I've never connected to it, and that's really the only reason.
I'm saying this is a little bit different just because it's a real showpiece for the system.
And I get that. And I'm like, this
wonder,
close. I tell you what, Dave.
You bought Avengers, dude.
I tell you what, man. Download Fortnite. I will 100% buy this game.
No, because that's a terrible deal.
Ooh.
It's not a terrible game. I mean, terrible deal. That's a perfectly fine deal.
That's fairly...
It's
free versus $70.
Yeah, free versus $70. I don't see how that's a bad deal.
And he didn't even say play. He said download.
Yeah,
Fortnite's free, yeah.
I just downloaded it on the Switch. We're good.
Yep, and that'll work because you can still play with us.
Okay, go buy.
All right.
Buy it now.
Let me see
you
your
have
Switch.
to buy it during
Let me see your Switch so that it's actually downloading.
All right, it's in the other room, but I'll do it.
Okay. My final thought is another movie that got pushed back 97 times because of the pandemic, Free Guy, is coming out, and I'm actually really excited to watch it. It looks stupid and goofy and dumb.
When is that coming out?
PG Deadpool.
Yeah, it's PG Deadpool.
Yeah.
It's coming out like soon. I think it's one of the first releases back. Free Guy release date. They said it during E3, and I totally August 13th.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a weird. It's a weird slot. I mean, everything's weird right now, so I don't know what to make of that.
Yeah.
Usually August releases are like, eh.
What game do I have to play now? I have to play Ratchet and Clank.
Yes, you do.
Yes.
Yeah, I have to see you online so that I verify that you actually own it.
Oh, hey, let's move the goalposts.
Yeah.
Well, it's $70 versus free. It's $70
versus free. I'm not asking for a lot here.
Just join his lobby and then log off.
Yeah, that's all I'm asking for. Because then I know at least you can. So when I say, "Hey, Dave," there's some possibility you might actually say yes. It's greater than
the
zero.
hope.
It's greater.
You gotta
than
have
zero.
the hope.
Yeah.
Give him the hope so you can rip it away from him.
Exactly.
That's your motivation.
Oh, what a great idea!
See, I don't know how you don't think of this stuff already.
Because I'm not inherently mean.
What?
You're considering it. That tells me you are inherently mean.
No. Like, Matt was the one that had the idea and gave me the idea. That's the inherent part. Me, it's just like, oh, that would be funny and mean.
Well, we'll end the show with a sage piece of wisdom, as we always do.
This will be
tide
mean
you
enough
over
funny.
until next time. Daniel, what did Yoda say when he saw himself in 4K?
Oh.
What did he say?
HDMI.
Oh, jeez. I actually knew that one.
Until next time, game on.
Game on.
Come on.